Hello, students. Hello, students. Can I get a confirmation from you all in the chat box if you are able to see the screen, students? Can I quickly get a confirmation from you all in the chat box if the screen is visible from your end? Thank you. Thank you, Preetham. So I have already submitted the mock number 4, which you have to attempt it. I will mark it and then do the discussion. Okay. So once again, at the end of the session, I will be doing a briefing about that also. So students, can we start working? Can I get again a confirmation from you all in chat box, students, just to get a clarity of everything is going well and clear. Thank you. So students, now if you observe, the first thing that you have to understand is today I'm going to do business valuation. Now this topic is very important, but they won't ask you a similar question in the exam. The objective of doing this section in today's class is to give you an idea of business valuation and how business valuation will be considered in the exam perspective. Okay, now students, evaluate a price estimation for liquid for business valuation. So I'll write down here, students, evaluation of a price for the valuation of liquid. Okay, I hope this is a very, very direct and a clear perspective and point of view. Now, students, the next one, discuss the challenges we may face in case if we are going for the proposal of merger and acquisition. So, challenges we may face when we are going for the merger and acquisition. Merger and acquisition. Okay, now students, let's work on this step by step, easy mechanism. So let's start working on this. Now, look at the question carefully. The question is stating that you have received an email from Caroline. I think it's a non-executive director. The shareholders had a recent meeting with the non-executive directors, and they are very much concerned about the fall in the revenue, specifically the industry trend. And also, since the business is purely based on high risk, there are tendency that the beta can increase, where the cost of equity can rise. As a result, the shareholders have asked us to evaluate a scenario where we can acquire or merge with Litgrid. In that case, there can be more stronger market supply from the end, and there can be a bargaining power, and revenue can be sustained as well. So students, as usual, this section is only focusing on a merger. This section is only focusing on what if we merge with our competitors. The reference material. The company is currently planning on a scenario to acquire Litgrid and form a single company in the initial review. We are planning on financial stability of the company, but now we are more concerned about the challenges we are facing also. So we have that perspective as well. Okay, now students, let's work on this step by step with more clarity and clarity. So let's think about the price estimation for lithium. Now, the first thing, students, I'm going to do an analysis of the financial statement of Litgrid. I believe you are observing the financial statements. Now, in the financial statement, students, the first thing that you have to keep in mind is we call it as the net asset based valuation. Now, if you observe the net asset based valuation, students, the total net asset in today's term is 8,882.28. Now, if you observe this, I believe most of you all are aware, the net assets is the assets minus liability. Assets minus liabilities, asset minus liabilities equals what, students? Equals what, students? Equals net assets. Now, in this particular case, the total assets is 14,320 minus the liabilities. Now, if you see the liabilities, they have broken down into two. That is 3,000 is the borrowings, the total non-current liability, and 2,492, it is the liabilities of current liabilities. And the difference should effectively equate to 8,828. Students, can I quickly get a Y in the chat box, students, if you got that perspective clearly, students? Can I quickly get a Y in the chat box? Now, if you observe in your examination, you are not concerned to write 8,828. In your examination, you are effectively applying your understanding towards the challenges with this 8,820. So I'll just write down here, the initial valuations will always be based on the net asset based valuation. In that case, we have to understand that asset minus liabilities are net assets. And it can be directly considered using the equity balance as well. In this case, the net assets are P $8,828. This is the net asset value. I'm again emphasizing the same sentence 2 times. Now, students, let's look at our company. If you look at our company, what is our net asset value? Our company's net asset value, if you observe, Rotomyne, is how much, students? 4,814. This is our company's net asset value. Now, here comes your critical thinking. Now, the question here is very challenging. Now, in this case, can you acquire this company with the current net asset valuation you have? So I'll write down here with a different color pen so that you will understand it more clearly. However, in the case of Rotomyne, the net asset value is P dollars 4,814. Now, students, if you multiply this, it's almost like the double the size, right? So can I write down here, which means we are far, far less in size for this acquisition. Now, I told you in the exam, it's not about the quantity you write. Now, a student will write everything and he can fail. But the examiner is not concerned whether you can write everything. The examiner is only concerned whether are you able to write very relevant data to the management. Now, can I ask a question from Preetham? Preetham, in this case, is this data a very relevant point, Preetham? Do you observe what I'm saying there? Yeah, because it's very relevant, right? Because you see in this case, Preetham, common sense, very open. How can we now think about acquisition if our size is less? So I'm going to write down here. Therefore, the question arises, how can we go ahead with the acquisition? Is it practical? Therefore, this can be a challenge. Therefore, this can be a challenge. So, in general aspect, this merger may reduce the control of Rotomyne to NCI. NCI means what, students? Non-controlling interest. Non-controlling interest. Non-controlling interest. Non-controlling interest. Therefore, we have to ensure that we have a better understanding of this situation, and this may not work for LithGit. This may not work for LithDig. Students, do you see how SCS answers are structured? Can I get a double Y in the chat box? Now, what happens to the students who passed OCS? What happens to the students who passed MCS? They keep on writing all the theory, and go forward. But the challenge is examiner expects you to know the theory, but theory is not reality. Theory is just to get an idea, but reality is how you adjust the theory for the situation. So in this case, I hope everything is going big. Yeah, that is the point. Thank you. Now, students, I want to cover some theory area. So can I write down here? The below sections are for theoretical explanations. Can we quickly go forward with the students? The below sections are for theoretical explanations. Correct, no, students? Yeah. So let's move forward with that step by step. Now I'll just go through this. Now in this case, students, what I have to understand is very clear. Market-based valuation. So if you observe the market-based valuation, although we don't have the price of this company, LithDig, Rotomyne share price is reflected. Preetham, what do you think? Who should have the highest share price now? Rotomyne, or it should be LithDig? Who do you think now after this analysis should have? Thank you. Thank you. Now, students, this class is a very, very analytical class because this class is enlightening you more practically on how to think. So as Preetham mentioned, it's going for LithDig for sure. Because students, we have to make our own assumption in the examination. Again, I'm repeating, students, we have to make our own assumption in the examination. And our assumption needs to connect to the situation very practically, very realistically, and very much, I can say, relevant and business oriented to a situation. Now, students, can I quickly get a double Y in the chat box if we can move forward? Now, if you see the current application, I'll just write down here, students. Today it's somewhere here, right? So can I say a price around $12? Now, if it is $12, means students, now if you observe, like Preetham was mentioning, it's the double the size. So I assume based on that double the size factor, it should go for 24, something like that. Students, it should go for 24, something like that. Students, can I quickly get a confirmation from you all in the chat box, students, if you understood that perspective that it can go for somewhere around 24. Can I quickly get a confirmation from you all? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, students. Thank you, students. Now, let's start working on this step by step. The market-based valuation is generally the best valuation when the company is listed in the stock market, is listed in the stock market. Therefore, in that case, we have to understand that the company will eventually have a understanding of how the market perceives the wealth of the company, the worth of the company, how the market perceives the worth of the company, how the market perceives the worth of the company. I hope that has been very transparent at the moment. Enough information for this not given. Yeah, I agree. There is where you have to think beyond the data. Now, I told you one thing, students, the skill that you have to develop in 2024, thinking beyond the data. Because as I already instructed, ChatGPT, LLM, that is the large language models, they recreate the data. As humans now, we have to go beyond the data. Pritham, are you clear with that? This is a skill that you have to emphasize on the exam day. Look at the information given, think above the information. That is where the students are lagging in SCS. That is what I have to tell for Firoza, everyone. Just be careful. Don't only get stuck with the data. Think little bit outside the matrix. Go little outside the matrix. Think even better. Try to improvise the way you apply, the way you think. That will eventually make your perspective even more clearer, more better, and more easier for you to think and consider. So shall we move forward, students? Yeah, we can move forward. So I'll write down here, students, so that it will be very easier for you all. We can consider the share price of Rotomyne. The reason is that the price is $12 as per the stock market history in the pre-scene. No need to write that in the exam, but I need to put in the pre-scene because students who miss the class will think, how did I get that $12 price? So the judgment is where we have to understand the size. Since lith dig is more, or I can say double the size, we can make sure that the price will be $24 on an estimation. On what, students? An estimation. Are you clear with that, students? Are you clear with that? I hope you got that perspective very clearly, very practically also. Thank you. Thank you very much. Now, students, now the next question. Little bit practical. Can I just be a little bit practical? Now, if it is 24, that's the estimation. Share capital is how much? 3,500. I hope everyone has figured it out clearly. So 3,500, according to US rules, the valuation is $1 one share. Okay. So that into 24, we have to just compute and see. I think the market value will be extremely higher, right? If I am correct. So I'll just work out with you all. That is 3,500 into 24. It is 84,000. It is 84,000 in market value terms. In market value terms. But if you look at the book value terms, the company worth is just 8,828. The reason behind that, why it is 8,828, can I be little transparent with you? If you observe, students, this lithium mine was acquired in which year, students? When was the last time we bought the lithium mine? Preetham, when did we buy lithium mine lastly? Can you tell me? When we did buy lithium mine lastly? 2004. Thank you. Thank you, Feroza. Now, I'll just write down here, last mine acquisition, 2004. Check and see, do we have a revaluation reserve? Preetham, do you have a revaluation reserve in this question? Yes or no? Feroza, do you have a revaluation reserve in this question? No, right? No, right? Students, can you understand it? So can I write down here no revaluation reserve? Now, students, I just want you to think, okay? That's what I'm giving. Don't memorize anything. Therefore, historical cost accounting. Historical cost accounting. Students, did you understand how I came into a conclusion? Therefore, historical cost accounting. Can I quickly get a confirmation from you all in the chat box, students, if you got the judgment properly, students? Judgment properly. So, lithium is a scarce resource. And if you observe, students, the industry investors also know the worth of the lithium demand and the limited quantity of supply they do have. So in that case, you have to understand there is a challenge in that case that we have to ensure these things are doing very well. So can I get a double Y in the chat box, students, if you got the clarity behind that, students? I hope that is very good point of view. Thank you. Thank you. So considering the number of shares, 3,500 by $24, we can assume the price will be $84,000. $84,000. The book values are understated since there is no revaluation. What, students? There is no what, students? Revaluation, what, students? Reserve. Are you understanding what I'm saying there, students? Are you understanding what I'm saying there? Can I quickly get a confirmation and quickly get a clarity behind what I'm saying there, students? Now, what's going to happen is the examiner is more concerned not about your technical knowledge. The examiner is concerned how you are going to use your technical knowledge in a practical environment. Therefore, this can be very challenging when considering to raise capital for investment. So in that case also, very challenging for our company. But can there be a situation like this? So I'll just write down, this is how, students, I don't know, we have to train our mind to always think according to the circumstances. Now, can I give you a situation here? Situation, suppose if Lith Dig acquiring whom, students? Rotomyne. So the answer will be same or different, students. What do you think? In case of Lith Dig acquiring Rotomyne, I'll write down here answer changes. Answer changes, students. Answer changes. Answer changes. Very much different. Very much. That's the correct point, Preetham. Very much different. Feroza, everyone, I'm telling you, people consider this paper as an easy paper. Honestly, as a teacher, I have to tell the classroom, very much different answers, but very identical question. The person who read the question properly wins the exam. That's it. So students, that is done. Now let's come to the next one. Cash flow based valuation. The cash flow based valuation is based on the expected future cash flow the business can yield. Therefore, in that case, we have to understand the expected trends in the business. Now, students, shall we start working on this? Yeah, we can start working on this. It will be more easier, more clearer for you to understand how the expected trends are concerned. Now, one thing, we don't have any data with regards to the cash flow trends because this cash flow is not free cash flow, students. This cash flow, I can effectively say, is more like the working capital cash flow. So can I write down here, students? This is more like the working capital cash flow. Are you understanding that, no, students? Because Preetham, you may be aware, working capital is the money required for continuous operations. Correct, no, students? So retained earnings minus the dividends, it's the effective, I can say, free cash flow. For instance, students, if you observe in this case, we have the retained earnings, we have paid the dividends also. So free cash flow 2252. So just check and see 2252 is the retained earnings free cash flow at the moment. But again, it's very uncertain. The reason is, students, this profit element may have something like depreciation, amortization, EBITDA, we can say, okay, earnings before interest, tax, depreciation, and amortization. So you need not worry about that very much specifically in that case. So let's quickly go forward so that you will understand the things more clearer and easier for the clarity. The property, plant and equipment, goodwill, intangible assets, inventory, trade receivables, bank, share capital, currency reserve, return earnings, borrowing, trade payable, tax payable also. So in this case, let's quickly go forward. So let's come to the situation very clearly. The revenue is declining. Students, are you understanding? Because we did this. Specifically, industry drop. And there are new innovations and alternative uses of students. There was a alternative use, very openly they were telling. They were effectively saying, students, sodium ion. Okay, alternative use of sodium ion. Therefore, in that case, this can be a major challenge. And the success of lithium battery is effectively based on the success of electric car. Students, will understand that. Suppose electric car fails, lithium price drops. Suppose electric cars face, lithium price may drop. Thank you. So students, I hope this is even clearer. So I'll write down here. Therefore, this valuation may provide a lower value. That is also fine, no, students. Now coming to the next valuation, that the next valuation is, students, PE based valuation. Generally decides the future potential of the company. Therefore, this can be a major challenge as well, since the PE is dropping, since the revenue is falling industrially. Therefore, this too can provide a lower value. And students, one more thing, dividend valuation model is generally used for estimation of NCI so that the company can buy the stake. In that case, this can effectively result in a non-value valuation, a non-value adding technique for the purpose, for the purpose. So the best valuation can be based on negotiation and counterparty expectation. Counterparty, what students? Expectation. Students, can I quickly get a confirmation from you all in the chat box, students, if you got that perspective of counterparty expectation? So in this case, students, we can't do a practical dividend valuation considering the data we have. The reason is lithic is very huge. And if you observe, our company is very backward, students. Lithic is in a next level, but our company is very backwards. Can I get a confirmation from you all in the chat box if you understood what I was explaining, students? Can I get that point of view, students? Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much, Preetham. Thank you very much, Feroza, for this point of view. Now, students, and especially I'm telling to the entire class, challenges we may face when we are going for the merger and acquisition. First thing is common mistakes what the students make. What is they make, students? Common mistake. Preetham, can you chat in the chat box what are the common mistakes the majority may make? Because my methodology of doing business is I only see the mistakes that is done by the market. And generally, I don't want to correct the mistakes by anyone, but I make sure I don't do that mistake. And that's how the businesses increase. So can you please tell me what is the common mistake you see with the students in a situation like this? Will they give the book answer? Yes or no, students? Agree or not agree, students? Correct or not correct? Will they give the book answer? 100% sure, no, students? Technical book answer will be given. Now, I can say the first one is, you know the answer. What is the biggest challenge? I think we have already wrote it in the first point. The scale of investment is beyond capacity. Beyond capacity, students. Scale of investment is beyond capacity. Are you understanding that perspective? Because more than finance, scale. Do you get the point? No, Preetham. Because scale is a better term instead of financing. The scale of capacity is beyond the capacity. Since we are a smaller entity, we are a smaller entity, smaller entity, and this may not be practically feasible. This may not be practically feasible at the moment. I hope that you are able to understand that perspective very, very clearly. And this will not be possible since we are highly geared. We are what, students? Highly geared. We are highly geared. And also we are we are highly geared, and also we are having less financial value from the shareholders as well. So in that case, it is very challenging. Now, students, I just want to do a small application. Can we do a small application, students, with all your understanding? Now, you see, Lithic is 8,797. Yeah, property, plant, and equipment. So PPE 8797. If you observe here, the PPE is 7270. Now, students, the property, plant, and equipments is not double. Preetham, do you understand the difference? The property, plant, and equipment is not double. But if you observe, the net assets is double. Are you getting the perspective, students? Now let's check and see where is it getting double? Where is it getting double? Where is it getting double? What is the rationale behind? it is becoming the double the size. So goodwill 2045, and even you see goodwill here 1800, not double. Intangible assets, not double. Inventory, let's check and see. Inventory is slowly becoming double. Are you observing? Inventory is double. Inventory is double. Students, can I get a double by in the chat box? Are you understanding that inventory is double? Are you getting that, students? Are you getting that? Are you getting that? Yeah. Now, students, quickly connecting the dots. Quickly connecting the dots. When coming to the dots, this question is coming. Now, students, they're asking which home country which produces the best lithium in the world. So lithium is mined in different countries. Earth rocks or the brine, lithium compounds. Now, my question here, in which year did we lastly invest in a lithium mine? 2004. Can I ask you a question, students? One risk we have not at all concerned here is, can there be a situation lithium mines are running out of compounds? Students, are you understanding what I'm saying? Can there be a situation that our company's lithium mines don't have enough lithium? Can I quickly get a confirmation from you all in the chat box? Are you understanding that's a business risk? That's a business risk. Are you understanding, Feroza, Preetham? Now, students, you don't only write the notes. You always think how Nufail is thinking like this. That you have to do it in the exam day. The way we are thinking in the classroom, you have to apply that on the exam day. Students, can I get a double Y in the chat box, students? Thinking beyond the data. Can I write it down, students? Thinking beyond the data. This is the future skill. Thinking beyond the data. Thinking beyond the what, students? Data. Thinking beyond the 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 data. Let's go forward in more in detail. Okay, so that is the very important challenge. I'll write down another point. Also, the lithium mines drying up. The lithium mines are drying up since we have made the last investment in 2004. In 2004. Now, this is the biggest challenge with the mining business. You can't spend a lot. You have to have capital. Once the mine is complete, invest in another mine. And students, can I do a little bit connection? Geologist. Now, do we need geologist in our company? Preetham, do you need geologist? Considering the data we just analyzed, do we need geologist in our company now? Because students, our lithium is drying up right now. Students, I don't think many of you would have gone through many analysis, students, but I don't think no one would have gone to this extent of analyzing. So can I write down here, students? Geologist can be geologist can be a need in the future. In the future, the geologist is going to be in the need. I believe that everyone. Yeah, we need to do more mining also. Excellent. Thank you. Thank you very much. Now the next one, students. This is the biggest challenge. Anyway, it is impossible. Now, in exam, you mustn't stop. You have to do dimensional thinking. Suppose if we, can we just go forward? Can I quickly get a confirmation from you all in the chat box, students? Can we go forward with suppose if we? Yes, we must. Yeah, thank you. Suppose if we, then prevention of monopoly act may prevent this acquisition, may prevent this acquisition. Students, are you getting that perspective there, students? Prevention of monopoly will prevent this acquisition. I believe this is very practical for you all. Correct, no, students? Since two mine companies joining together, they may end up as price makers. They may end up as what, students? Price makers. This can eventually affect the inflation and the economy as well. Are you getting that perspective there, students? I just want to say in Sri Lanka, there is a merchant. He acquired all the rice mills and he controls the rice mills. But even government failed. Although we say in the theory that government will impose this, but there are situations, students, even government can't compete with certain companies. Are you understanding that? Students, can I quickly get a double Y in the chat box, students, if you got this perspective here? Yeah, that is also one important factor. Now, students, the other challenges that we may face is, one is the competition, one is the thing, then corporate governance challenges. Students, can I write down here corporate governance challenges? Students, this is very, very important because if you see in reality on strategic level, governance is something very essential. Now, Preetham, you can just write it in the chat box. Who is the Prime Minister of India, Preetham? I think everyone knows who is the Prime Minister of India. Can someone type it in the chat box, students, quickly? Who is the Prime Minister of India? I think it's Narendra Modi, right? Everyone knows it. Now, I'll ask a very quick question. Who is the Prime Minister of Japan, Australia, Switzerland, Sweden, or Denmark, or Belgium? I don't think many of you all are aware about. No one is aware, right, students? Very, very transparently speaking. The idea is corporate governance because in developing countries, the leaders focus on profiling. They try to build their reputation. They say India developed because of Modi. What about Switzerland? Switzerland developed because of people, because Australia developed because of people. So the ideology of corporate governance is the company dependent on one individual or a system? If the company is dependent on a system, that means the company can survive for a longer time. If Elon Musk dies today, do you think Tesla can continue? Doubt. But if Coca-Cola CEO dies today, do you think Coca-Cola can continue? Yes. If Pepsi CEO died today, can Pepsi continue? Of course. You understand what I'm saying there, students. If Samsung CEO dies today, can Samsung continue? Of course. Are you understanding that of course point of view? That is corporate governance. Are you understanding that, students? Because the systems placed within the organization is only called the corporate governance, and how an organization controls that system is what matters at the end of the day. Can I get a double Y in the chat box, students? If you are able to understand that perspective very, 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 very clearly with regards to the corporate governance and the systems. Thank you. Thank you very much, students. At present, the biggest challenge can be management restructuring, since we may need expertise from both the end. Full stop. Students, these are the big challenges, but I can go for more and more, but I don't want to go for more and more. But today the learning outcome is you have to write answers very, very practically, students. You have to write answers very, very practically. Students, just give me a minute, students. I just want to show you one thing. I'm always telling you, students, if possible, students, Preetham, can you all tell me? Can you see a book called Thinking Fast and Slow? Can you observe this book, students? Yeah, it's a Nobel Prize book, students. It's a book from a Nobel Prize winner. Students, I have to tell you, if you observe the root cause why you are having problems is your thinking. Am I right, students? Can I get a double Y? if you effectively see the root cause why you have problem in life, is your thinking. Am I right or wrong, students? Yeah, right, students. Am I right? Agree, not students. We have to agree with that. The truth is that your emotions affected by your thinking only. Now, students, this is the summary of that book. I just want to guide you. There are two ways we think. One is very fast, unconscious, automatic, everyday, and error. This is what majority of the brain. Because students, you see, we are used to the unconscious scrolling in social media. We just scroll, and go. We don't have that patience to go through an article in full. We don't even have the patience to go through a reel also in full. Because sometimes a reel also now people are seeing very less. Correct, no, students? Now, in that system one, many people end up in, I can say, generalization, judgment, they say. Now, you see, let's assume I saw a lady who is not properly dressed. My mind will say this person is a very bad person. That's the system one. Unconsciously, we come to judgments. Can I get a Y in the chat box, students, if your system one is clear? Because this is where majority goes and fail the exam. Because I want to tell this especially to Rahul, because Rahul and everyone, the Indian methodology of studying, I have to be very transformational. It's more like fast. Multiplication table. Correct, no, Pritam? 2 into 4, 8. 8 into 2, 16. Like that, they have programmed our mind to think fast. Am I right or wrong, students? Now, let's come to the system 2. Actually, this is the best way, meditative way of thinking. Think slowly, take time. Put your conscious into the picture. Think beyond the data. Think of the blind spot. Think of the things that is not mentioned. Think, what if there is a other part of the story? You have to put some effort. Break the problems into step by step and make it more reliable. Are you understanding the summary of this book, students? Because this skill of thinking slow will help you pass the exam. Now, 60 minutes time has been given. Now, you see Feroza and you see Rahul and Preetham, the old examination, that is the MCS, all, they were effectively focusing on, students, you tell me, 45 minutes and 4 questions. But this paper is eventually focusing on 3 questions, 60 minutes. The reason why they have reduced the number of questions and increased the number of time, only one reason. Students, only one reason. Fast thinking or slow strategic moves. Slow strategic moves. Slow strategic moves. Students, again, I'm telling, if you are preparing for the examination, don't come to conclusions fast. Even in your life, don't make permanent decision for temporary problems. Permanent decision for temporary problems. I think if you see everyone, they take a permanent decision for a small temporary problem. Are you understanding what I'm meaning there, students? Can I quickly get a confirmation from you all in the chat box? Excellent. Thank you. Thank you. So now the fundamentals are over. Now we are effectively going to focus on the applications, how we are going to think, how we are going to write the answers. So please do the mock and I'll mark it also. So I'm going for the one-to-one discussion. Feroza, any questions you like to ask? Preetham, any questions you like to ask? Rahul, any questions you like to ask? Thank you. Thank you, students. Now, thank you very much for all your time. Thank you very much. See you in the Wednesday class, students. And I will do the discussion also with your answers, because your answers and now discussion. Now, I am going to critically evaluate how you are going to think, and the gap analysis, I'm going to solve it on the class. I hope that will be a better way to improvise our way of thinking and analyzing things. Thank you. Thank you, students. So hopefully see you on the next class. Take care, students.